Welcome to level 31 out of 31 levels of the 613 degrees or rungs on Jacob's ladder. It is appropriate to not be a hedonist in life. A hedonist is one who practices hedonism, and hedonism is a way of life devoted to pleasure. It is much better to seek out joy than pleasure because it is longer lasting and does not have crashes causing depression. It is also appropriate to not be a bastard. A bastard is an illegitimate child. Illegitimate is born with unmarried parents or illegal. Illegal is not lawful. A bastard is not another person, but an inner aspect within ourselves. We were all bastards at one time or another. An illegitimate child is a metaphor for either a male child or female child that is born out of wedlock. Male is a metaphor for an action, and female is a metaphor for a restraint. So a metaphorical bastard is an action or a restraint that was created without love. One can call this an offensive, despicable, or unpleasant act or restraint. So a bastard is someone who routinely performs offensive, despicable, or unpleasant acts or restraints. It is also important to not be a sadist. A sadist is one who practices sadism, which is delight in cruelty. It is deriving pleasure from the pain of others. It is also important not to be a masochist. A masochist is someone who practices masochism, which is pleasure in being abused. It is to derive pleasure from the pain on self. Sadism and masochism promote violence. It makes people numb. Numbness prevents people from getting any reaction out of life. They are numb to their environment and lack feeling and emotion towards life. One should cherish life and rejoice, feeling and emoting joy from life's wonderful events. One should also not rid humility. Humbleness and modesty are extremely important virtues. No one likes to hear someone brag. Bragging and arrogance is looked down upon because it raises the bragger's self-esteem and lowers the listener's self-esteem. It is also important to not be disappointed in life. Life has its ups and downs and its highs and lows. Sometimes one can experience a great loss in their life, but one has to remember that everything is part of God's plan and there is no need to feel disappointed. There is always tomorrow and the next day where there is light at the end of the tunnel. Without losses, there cannot be wins. One has to experience a loss in order to appreciate a win. It is important not to allow the ego to rule. The ego is the opponent, also called Satan. Satan, or Satan, tries to rule over us, making us focus on pleasure instead of joy and focusing on self instead of others. The ego will try to rule over the soul, but it is our job to be aware of the ego's attempts at rulership and fight egoism and selfishness with altruism and selflessness. It is appropriate to not choose multiple paths. One should not choose the path of altruism and selflessness and also choose the path of egoism and selfishness. It is hypocritical to want both. Life's goal is to rid hypocrisy, as previously mentioned. As we grow up, Satan is bound to influence us at least slightly. It is our job to try to eliminate Satan's temptation and choose the path of altruism and selflessness over the path of egoism and selfishness. It is also important not to choose multiple environments. One should choose a warm environment where one can practice ideal interactions regularly. One should avoid choosing a harsh environment where one is surrounded by negative people and negativity. When one mixes environments, the negativity from the harsh environment starts to influence the positive environment, promoting negativity in the warm environment. It is also important to not seek excess money, wealth, power, and knowledge. When someone seeks an excess of anything, this is considered greed. When we seek excess, it creates an insatiable appetite and desire that cannot be fulfilled. We constantly want more money, wealth, power, and knowledge, and we can never be fulfilled. This is why moderation is so important. Moderation is avoiding extremes. Moderation keeps us content, satisfied, and appreciative for the things we have, and avoids us from being jealous, envious, and covetous for the things we don't have. Moderation gives us a strong mentality where we are thankful towards God for all the blessings in our lives. This concludes the Jacob's Ladder Ascension audio course. I hope you enjoyed it, benefited from it, and I wish you safe travels up the ladder towards the heavens.